Hi. In this section, we're going to take a closer look at entities. We're going to learn how you can train your own entity detector using the Watson conversation tooling. We'll also take a look at how we can use entities to clarify generic intents. And finally, we'll take a look at the Watson conversation tooling that can be used to help build your entity detector. In a previous section, we talked about entities. An entity represents a class of object or a data type that is relevant to the user's purpose. In Watson conversation, entities are denoted by the @ symbol prefix. To see how entities work, let's take an example. A user might say, "Tell me about Yosemite National Park." Remembering back to a previous lesson, we know that the intent here is "tell me about." But tell me about what? Clearly we know the what is Yosemite National Park, but how do we teach Watson? To do that, we need to teach Watson to detect entities. In this case, the entity would be national parks, and the value of that entity would be Yosemite. In a previous lesson, we hinted at clarifying intents with entities. In this particular case, we see 5 examples, which all express the tell me about intent. The tell me about intent is very generic. It could apply to plants, animals, or national parks. Here, we clarify an intent with an entity, thus creating a condition that matches only when a user input expresses a tell me about intent and contains a national park. In order to teach Watson to detect entities, we need to train an entity detector. Training the entity detector is very similar to training the intent classifier. Just like intents, entities can also be defined using a CSV file. Let's have a look at this example. An entity is made up of 3 components: the name, the value, and any synonyms for the value. Training the entity detector for Watson conversation is very easy. All we have to do is upload a CSV file similar to the one we just saw. We can do this using the Watson Conversation Service tooling. So far, we've seen how to create custom entities and train our own custom entity detector. Watson Conversation also provides a set of system entities that are ready to use out of the box. They just need to be activated. These system entities can be used to detect numbers, currency, percentages, and dates and times. There are even some special out-of-the-box methods available. And finally, activating the system entities is very simple and can be done easily through the tooling. In this section, we learned how to train the entity detector by importing our own custom entities. We learned that entities can be used to clarify intents, and that the Watson Conversation Service provides a set of out-of-the-box system entities. And finally, we caught a glimpse of the tooling for both entities and system entities.